Ladies and gentlemen, let's look at a scenario where Raila Odinga decides to vie for president come 2027. Remember, I did a video where we looked at what options Raila Odinga has after AUC. And he had three options. One, work with William Ruto. Two, endorse Kalonzo Musyoka and disregard the coalition. Three, vie for president come 2027. Now we are looking at, should he choose option 3? And he decides to vie come 2027. What are his chances? If that is something you're interested in, stay tuned. And if you're watching for the first time, take a moment, subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss similar videos. The first question that comes to mind is, why on earth would Raila decide to vie come 2027? And I have 3 reasons. Reason number 1 are the people I call the hangers-on. These are men and women whose re-election or election depends entirely on Raila being on the ballot. Most of them are found in Luo Nyanza. And they were not very happy with Raila's decision to join the broad-based government. They have been very critical of broad-based government. They have been of the opinion that Raila Odinga should not join anybody. He is still viable as a candidate and he will win. In fact, they were against Raila Odinga also going to the AUC. Only that on the day that Raila was, on the day of election, they had to go to Addis Ababa just in case Raila was to win. They should not be seen as people who are opposed to Baba, because that also will work against them on the ground. But deep down, after Raila lost to the Djibouti guy, they are the happiest people. And they have not even wasted time. Currently, they are telling Raila Odinga not to try anything, not to work with Ruto. It is the worst thing he can do. They have been criticizing those who are saying that ODM will support William Ruto. They have made it very clear that William Ruto is the worst person to support. And they are telling Raila to vie. So the first reason why Raila may vie is if he chooses to listen to this hangers-on. And they are convincing, I must tell you, because that is how they have survived all along. They want Raila on the ballot. Even when they know that Raila cannot win, they will tell him that he can win. And once Raila loses, they're always the first people to tell him that he was rigged out. But you see, eventually, they would have won. They would be serving as governors, as senators, as MP, as MCS. They don't care what happens to Raila. So this is the first reason why Raila may vie. He may decide to listen to this hangers-on and vie. Second reason is what I call the financial incentives. You see, Kenya's politics is very predictable. When you are a party leader of a serious party like ODM and you are an influential candidate like Raila Odinga, chances are that aspirants would come to you for favors. Some would want you to endorse them for the seats they want, for the seat. Some will be looking for direct nomination and other things. And all these things involve some money. A friend was even telling me that during nomination, ODM has several desks where you go and you see this person and that person. They would be telling you what to do next if you want a direct ticket or to be endorsed. So that particular incentive to make money come 2027 might be a reason. I'm not saying Raila is inclined to do that, but it's also a possible reason why he might decide to vie. If he wanted to make some easy money, there is easy money to be made from aspirants who would want to avoid competition. That is the second reason. Reason number 3 is where Raila Odinga is convinced that he can win. Raila Odinga might look at the current situation and say that the Kikuyus who played the predominant role in electing Ruto have deserted him. Raila might be like, this is Ruto at his weakest moment, and I can now strike and vie come 2027. So those are the 3 reasons why he might vie, if you asked me. 1, lest you forget, the hangers-on convincing him to vie so that they benefit. 2, the monetary incentive. perhaps chances of making money as a presidential candidate, offering favors here and there to aspirants. And 3, real conviction that he can win. The question that we answer next is, what are his chances? Let's say whatever reason he uses and is on the ballot, what are his chances of winning come 2027? I would say Raila has 2 paths to victory. One path is he convinces the Rigathi Kalonzo coalition to endorse him for president come 2027. Yes. If he can convince Rigathi and Kalonzo Musyoka to endorse him for the president, if he can pull it off, then Raila's chances of becoming president are very high. In fact, they will be the highest ever since 2007. Now, the challenge with this, like I said, if he can pull it off, fine. He's likely to be the president. The challenge with this is that Kikuyus abandoned Ruto's government because Ruto brought in Raila Odinga. I repeat this, you bring Raila into government, you lose Kikuyus. Uhuru tried that in 2018. Kikuyus didn't care whether Uhuru was their son or the son of Kenyatta, etc. They abandoned him. And they voted for Ruto to spite Uhuru because Uhuru Kenyatta had openly endorsed Raila Odinga. So, they voted for Ruto to ensure that Raila Odinga is not only kept out of power, but permanently sent into retirement. For Ruto to, in their opinion, revive Raila and give him significance again, that was a betrayal. So they abandoned Ruto too. Today, the worst critics of President Ruto are the people who said they would stand with him no matter what. It also tells you that my point is right. They did not elect Ruto majority of them, did not elect Ruto because they felt he was qualified or after understanding his manifesto and policies. No. They were like, this is the opponent of one Raila Odinga. And so we are going to support him to make sure Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta fail. And now that Ruto has refused to crush Raila Odinga and has decided to bring him on board, they have abandoned Ruto. I am telling you that it will be very difficult for Kikuyus to vote for Raila Odinga. Because otherwise, why are they leaving Ruto because of Raila only to go back and vote for Raila to punish Ruto? Ruto's only mistake here is trying to ensure the country is stable by engaging Raila Odinga. And for that, they have abandoned him. Why would they then go and vote for that Raila Odinga as president? Like I said, if he can pull it off, then he's going to be president, most likely. But it is very difficult. That is the first challenge. Kikuyus must hate Ruto so much that they end up loving Raila. 2, second challenge, is that if Kikuyus were to support Raila Odinga, they will demand that he gives them the running mate position. If he gives them the running mate position, in that agreement, in that coalition, that arrangement of the Rigathi and Kalonzo, that means Kalonzo Musyoka will not only have to sacrifice his presidential candidature, he will then support Raila Odinga. Again, the 4th time, without any measure of reciprocity. He will be supporting him with the hope that should he win, he will be some minister in Raila's government. Do you think Kalonzo Musyoka is going to do that in 2027, considering his age? Currently, Kalonzo is convinced, and that is why Kalonzo has resisted every temptation to join President Ruto's government, because every analyst he meets has convinced him that he has the highest chance of defeating Ruto. Actually, he's so persuaded that he can defeat Ruto with or without Raila's support. Imagine convincing him not to be Raila's number 2, but to be a nobody, just one of the people campaigning for him like it was in 2022. If Raila can pull that, he's still safe, but it's a big challenge. The third challenge is if Raila insists that his running mate will be Kalonzo Musyoka, then what will motivate the Kikuyus to vote for him? Nothing. But even if they agreed in that particular arrangement, the biggest challenge would be voter turnout. And what I mean is, in 2022, when Rigathi Gachagua was the running mate, the voter turnout in Mount Kenya as a region, the 10 counties that form Mount Kenya, was 65%. See? 65%. That is some of the lowest voter turnout. And it spoke to one thing, that when the son of mountain is not at the top of the ticket, there is very little motivation. And let me explain. You may be like, 65 is a lot. That 65 had to be looked for on the day of election. You can go and revisit evidence. You can go and revisit records. On the day of election, the turnout in Mount Kenya was so mediocre that elected leaders had to go and mobilize people physically to go to the voting stations. They were not going. You would find empty schools. Nothing was motivating them. And imagine that time, they were so sad with Uhuru Kenyatta that they wanted to punish him by voting for Ruto, but nothing was motivating them enough to go out and vote. If you check, you'll find that most people came to vote very late, in the afternoon especially, because initially they were not seeing anything. When one of their son is not on the ballot, nothing motivates them to go and vote. So imagine Kalonzo Musyoka and Raila have a ticket and Kikuyus are to support that ticket. The turnout will be the worst in the history of Mount Kenya, if you ask me. It will be too low to be significant. But if Raila can pull that, get Kalonzo as a running mate and still get a turnout in Mount Kenya to be high enough to help him win, then he will be likely the president. That is path number 1. The path 1 is where Raila Odinga convinces Rigathi and Kalonzo to endorse him. And I've told you, if he pulls it, fine, but the challenges are there. Path 2 to victory is where Raila Odinga has retained his support of 2022, let's say without Ukambani and the votes he got in Mount Kenya. So let's say Raila still has a lot of sway in Nyanza, that is Kisii and Luo. He still has some sway in Kakamega and parts of Luyas, that is excluding Bungoma. Let's say Raila still has some sway in the coast. He largely maintains his constituency of 2022. I said without the Kambas and Kikuyus who voted for him. Then he goes into this race. What happens is, none of the 3 frontrunners is going to win with 50+1. Kalonzo, Ruto, and Raila will not, none of them will get the 50+1, which means people go for a runoff. In this runoff, Raila Odinga has to pray that he is either number 1 or number 2. Because without being a number 1 or number 2, he cannot participate in the runoff. So if he's number 1 and Kalonzo is number 2, and they're going into this runoff, he will want Ruto, if let's say Ruto is number 3, he would want Ruto to endorse him. But then Ruto will look at, why would I endorse somebody that the other day I revived his political career? I did everything to give him international image. And then now when I expected him to return the favor, he decided to stab me in the back and vie. Why would I support this person? So the motivation would be to punish Raila Odinga. In that case, chances are that if Ruto was number 3, chances are like he will endorse Kalonzo Musyoka to punish Raila. Then let us look at another scenario where it is Raila and Ruto. Kalonzo is number 3. Because I told you for this path, Raila has to be either number 1 or number 2. He must be in that runoff. So in this scenario, is Raila and Ruto. Kalonzo is number 3. He would need Kalonzo to support him. Kalonzo would be of the opinion that I have supported this guy thrice. I have sacrificed, shelved my ambition for him. When it was now my turn, when I expected him now to endorse me, he has decided to vie. Why else would I help him? So chances are that Kalonzo will be more motivated to punish Raila than to punish Ruto. In that case, Raila still loses. Those are the challenges. Because in that second part, Raila Odinga has to be either number 1 or number 2, and he must get the support of either Ruto or Kalonzo to win the runoff. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope I painted the picture. Raila Odinga, if he chooses to vie, he has a chance. But there are challenges, and I have explained the challenges. What is your opinion? Do you think if Raila chose to vie come 2027, he is likely to win? Let me know what your views are in the comment section. And if you found value in this video, don't forget to like it and share it with friends. Otherwise, for Raila's best political move moving forward, watch this video.